Free Period is a podcast of First Baptist Watauga Student Ministry. For more information about First Baptist Watauga, you can check us out at fbcwatauga.org. Hello and welcome to Free Period, the weekly break you want to take. I'm Kevin Skinner, the Associate Pastor and Student Pastor here at First Baptist Watauga.
And I'm Nathan McKendry, your Young Adult Minister and Assistant Student Minister, also here at First Baptist Watauga.
And today we're going to be answering the question, what's the best song by the Beach Boys and the best song by the Beatles? And shout out to Jairus Wolf for submitting this question this week.
Shout.
Thanks, Jairus.
But first, before we get to that, we have another 1800s from the Victorian era word that I'm going to give you, Kevin.
Okay.
And see if you can know the meaning. So
I've done
fairly well.
I'd say I've done fairly poorly.
1 out of 3.
You've done fairly well. I've done
like
fairly
2
poorly.
out of 3. We need more to justify this. But here's your phrase.
Okay.
Bang up to the elephant.
Bang up to the elephant.
Yep.
I'm gonna say like running into a wall. Like, you're trying to make progress and you keep running into that wall. Bang up to the elephant.
No. I mean, you were almost like, if you maybe put that in a more positive turn, it means perfect, complete, or unapproachable. So maybe if you're trying to, finish said wall and make it perfect and make it wall.
Oh, well,
But
I was not building the wall. No, I'm like,
run into a wall and I don't like it there. I'm like,
sometimes
no.
when I'm like writing a paper or, I just keep, having that mental block running into the wall.
Yeah, this
That's
is
what
more
I was
like
picturing.
you finish the paper, it's fantastic, and you've done a bang up job or a
that makes
bang
more
it up
sense.
to the elephant.
That makes more sense. I guess bang up to the elephant
When you think
was
of a
too
bang up
long and it
job,
got shortened to you've done a bang up job, and that makes perfect sense. My mind just did not go there at all.
My mind only just now went there when I realized bang up job is a thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. Banging it up to the elephant.
Okay. Well, so, I would say that phrase is somewhat still around. It's just been shortened.
We're going to lengthen it back up.
All right, let's get to today's question. What's the best song by the Beach Boys and the best song by the Beatles? So, do you listen to the Beach Boys or the Beatles, Nathan?
I do not. I used to listen to the Beach Boys when I was growing up. I would listen to them a lot. I've really never listened to the Beatles, but I do have one song that I've listened to by the Beatles. I don't think my parents are big Beatles fans, and so I think that probably contributed to just me never ever hearing them.
Okay.
But I know of the song Twist and Shout,
Mm-hmm.
so I enjoy that one. I think that's a fun one. And then the
Yeah.
Beach Boys, I think there's several good ones in there. I especially like Surfin' Safari or Surfin' USA or Barbara Ann. That one's a fun one just because ba, ba, ba. I think of the Minions a lot. I think they did something like that. Ba, 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 banana. Yeah.
Yes.
So those are my two. What about you?
All right. So, I'll give some stories to go along with mine.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
So,
Story time.
So let's start with the Beach Boys.
Okay.
The Beach Boys were a group that I definitely listened to when I was a child.
Okay.
So back when I was, I don't know, I might have even been in like junior high. I had gotten a cassette tape player. This was before people had Discmans. So I had a cassette tape player and, or what we called a Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Showing your
so I would go on like bike rides and snap that Walkman to my belt and put on my headphones, and I would listen to the Beach Boys
Wow.
in those said headphones.
That's awesome.
But the specific song that I loved to listen to when I was going on my bike rides, I loved to listen to Get Around.
Classic.
Yeah, which, side note for that song Get Around, they also play that song in the 80s movie or actually I say it's an 80s movie. Believe it's even older than that, maybe 70s. But the movie Flight of the Navigator, which is on Disney Plus, not a sponsor, but definitely one of my favorite movies from childhood.
How cool would it be if they were a sponsor?
That would be pretty cool if they were the
cool
sponsor,
would it be to
I
have
guess.
a sponsor?
True. That would be cool.
That would be interesting.
But so Get Around is definitely I Get Around, definitely my favorite Beach Boys song. And then my favorite Beatles song, I do listen to the Beatles. My in-laws are really the ones that got me into the Beatles because my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, they both really love the Beatles. My wife does too, but I specifically remember my father-in-law and brother-in-law specifically putting on like Beatles music back when my wife and I were dating. And so I've actually got in my office, I've got the Beatles. This is one set of records that I have. My brother-in-law actually gave this to me for Christmas one year. And so my favorite song is Hey Jude. And I would say that's one of the greatest Beatles songs. If we are defining best by popularity, I mean, I think that is a pretty popular Beatles song. So, yeah. So there you go.
Good. Nice.
So let me ask you this, Nathan. Just in general, aside from Beatles and Beach Boys, just in general, what is your go-to genre of music when you listen?
Ooh, that's changed over the years. I grew up more on like 80s music and then a lot of Rick Springfield and Stephen Curtis Chapman, which is an interesting combination, but that's what I grew up on because of Dad.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I listen to more like either soundtracks or something without words to it because it makes good like background stuff, like reading or writing or something. I don't want words because it'll distract me. But I also listen to like groups of people. So like Need to Breathe, I listen to a lot of them. Really like Need to Breathe, and I really like Sleeping at Last, which is it's Ryan O'Neal. He kind of developed that name, Sleeping at Last, and makes a lot of like meaningful, like a lot of music with deep meaning behind it. So I'll also listen to. But see, like I mostly listen to podcasts. Like every week when I drive to Waco and back, I'm usually listening to podcasts, not music.
Right.
So sometimes it's podcast about music.
Okay.
But that's really just the Sleeping at Last podcast. So I wonder if Need to Breathe this podcast. I should look it up. I don't listen to us. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I didn't ask you if you did.
Yeah. I just felt like it was a confessionary moment.
Hey,
but that's because they're like 15.
You
20
record.
minutes long.
You record this with me, so
I do.
I'm not surprised that you don't listen to it.
Do you listen to it?
My hope is that you out there listen to it. Well, I have to listen to it because
you edit it.
Yeah, because I edit it. So I listen to it a couple of times even before it airs because I listen to it as I'm editing it, and then after I save the final copy, I will listen to it again straight through just to make sure there's no glitches or anything in it.
Okay,
that I need to correct.
Other than this podcast, what else do you listen to?
So I will talk about some of my musical genres that I do listen to, but for the most part, I like you, I really don't listen to music that often.
You're more of a podcast guy as well?
Podcast, audiobooks.
Oh, yeah, audiobooks.
Sermons. I tend to, when I am driving, I want to use that time to be learning. Okay. It's kind of wasted time to me if I'm not doing something to help myself grow during that time. I don't know. I just see that time in the car, specifically when I'm driving, as useful time, and so I try to listen to stuff that will help me grow. However, there are times that I don't want to listen to just talking, that I will put on music, and so really there are two genres that I listen to the most when I am driving, and really, if I listen to music when I'm driving, it's because I've gotten into a mood. All right, and so by that I mean like in the springtime after we've had winter, and granted, my favorite time of year is the winter, but in the springtime when winter is kind of transitioning away, all of a sudden the sun's out and it's, bright and sunny and very happy, I tend to want to listen to oldies music, and by that I mean like the era of the Beatles and the Beach Boys,
okay.
and I want to listen to some of those upbeat oldies music things.
Well, I just changed my answer because of you mentioning seasons. I forget. Christmas music is going to be my favorite genre because when Christmas time comes around, that's what I start listening to. My roommate and I would play it.
I haven't
all
stopped
throughout our
listening
apartment.
to it. So
You're still listening to it?
Yeah, I'm still listening. No, I'm just joking.
Well, my professor I used to work for at Hardin Simmons, he would play music in his office, but he would just play this ginormous playlist of music, and every so often a Christmas song would come on, even if it wasn't Christmas.
Right.
And so he would do that, and I'd be like, "It's April. What are you doing?"
So I'll get into those moods in the springtime where I want to listen to some of those oldies musics, or oldies songs. I said oldies musics.
Music's precious.
But I'll also get into mood sometimes when I am wanting to listen to music where I'm wanting to listen to music from my time in high school. And so I've got some CDs from
What's
high
a CD?
school. Yeah, what is a CD? Actually, honestly, I say I've got some CDs. I don't even go there anymore. I have Pandora, and I just put in 90s alternative music. That's what I was listening to in high school, alternative music, and it was the 90s. So I listen to 90s alternative music on Pandora when I'm in that type of mood.
You know what I listened to in the 90s?
Nothing.
Barney.
Oh, Barney.
I was born in 98, man.
Well, that's why I'm thinking nothing. You weren't listening to anything.
Yeah. Listen to my parents talk, and I listen to Barney.
So that's why you still like listening to talking and listening to music.
And the Wiggles. Fruit salad.
Never watched them.
Wow.
Don't know anything about that.
Sad. They still play music. They're still a group.
Okay.
I'm amazed.
So, all right. So now that we've talked a little bit about the musical genres that we do listen to, let's specifically talk about Christian music. All
Perfect. Right? Wiggles.
Is that a Christian group?
I don't know. I feel like they were. Maybe they are.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. VeggieTales.
Okay.
I used to memorize some of those songs, but this isn't the Christian music you're referring to.
I mean, if that's what you want to listen to, then
in the 90s and early 2000s,
specifically, if you are listening to Christian music right now, what maybe are some of your favorite Christian songs, or current worship songs, or older worship songs, just in general? Do you have any favorite Christian music?
I don't know any group names. There's always just the compilations of things. So, but a lot of the times the stuff that kind of reminds me of my youth group, maybe as I was growing up. So Good Good Father, we sung quite a bit.
Ooh, shout out to Paige Looney, who hates Good Good Father.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
I just added Paige Looney.
You did. And she'll have to listen to it now. She's one of my young adults now. And she's going to Hardin Simmons,
In her defense, she doesn't hate it because she doesn't think the Father is good. She just felt like it was
overplayed,
and she got tired of it. A lot of those things
were overplayed back then.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. Oh, I have grown to like hymns more now, as opposed to when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But we would play them when I was younger, and so now maybe I'm just relating back to when I was younger. But Come Thou Fount, love that one. Great is Thy Faithfulness. A lot of the hymns, I guess hymns is going to be my answer. A lot of the older hymns I actually like quite a bit.
Awesome.
Not all of them. And I don't like them as a complete substitute for some of the newer stuff. But I don't love every new thing that comes out.
So interestingly, since you bring up hymns, we sang a hymn in church not too long ago. I can't remember when it was. It was, definitely an older song that I probably even grew up on. Honestly, I think it might have been when we were doing the revival, but I can't remember for sure.
That would have been like a year ago.
Anyways, but after that service that we sang that hymn in, Emily, shout out to you, Emily, once again. She was like, I love that new song that we sang.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I'm like, man,
That's
I guess
an old song that
we
played.
I guess, we play hymns so few and far between these days that if you hear one now, it sounds like a new song. So,
That's fair.
Hymns can make a resurgence as new music.
When we see that happen, where they'll take hymn, Matthew's
Right.
done this, where they'll take a hymn and make it sound a little more newer. And when you start singing the words, you're like, wait a second. I know this. I know this one.
Yeah.
We've sung this.
Yeah.
But Christian Christmas music, again, is going to be my favorite here.
Okay.
Because we love to sing about Jesus, especially around the holidays.
Yeah, of course.
And it's awesome.
I also really do enjoy hymns. I always have. I grew up on hymns. When our church kind of made the transition to adding a service with, at that time I think we called them choruses, not even really contemporary music, but it was contemporary for that time. I still went to the traditional hymn singing service. I did not go to the chorus singing service. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? This is not to create any worship wars right now.
Which I guess do exist, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
We've kind of meandered into that department.
Yeah, we have now. So I really do love hymns. But I also love worship music, and some of the worship songs that I think too as it just brings me, those songs bring me good feelings. It's from my college days because, like I said, I grew up on hymns. I sang every hymns in every service, and I loved them. But then when I went to college, and it was a Christian college with chapel services, so we would sing worship songs every week. It was kind of my first experience with some newer contemporary worship songs. And so two songs that I really loved at that time and still do, Trading My Sorrows and then Every Day. Those are two songs from that time. And I'm like, man, those are great songs. More currently, one of my favorite worship songs is Build Your Kingdom Here, which we actually sang.
Yeah, we sang that last night.
Yep.
That was a fantastic one.
So
Liked that one a lot. Waymaker.
Yes.
That's one of the newer ones.
Waymaker's a great one.
That's a newer one that I've actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I don't love all the brand new ones, but I end up hearing them too much as well. And then I become like Paige.
There you go.
Well, we'd like to hear from you. What's your favorite song by the Beach Boys or by the Beatles? And also, what's your favorite worship song, if you have any favorite type or favorite song that's come out? Remind us of some of the ones that we're forgetting.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to interact with you there. But
Absolutely. All right, well, that's it for this week's episode of Free Period. Join us again next week as we answer the question, what is a frenemy, and should I have one?
bye.
I hope that you enjoyed today's podcast, and I'd love to meet you in person. If you're a student between 7th and 12th grade, you can join us on Wednesday nights for midweek at First Baptist Watauga. You can also join us on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. for growth groups and 10:50 a.m. for worship.